I felt like going on a shopping spree, specifically a book shopping spree, but I didn't want to spend any money. So what better way to get a bunch of new books without spending a single dollar? The library. So this ended up being the haul. First up, I will talk about the 2 books that I went in knowing I was going to get them. I could see they were available on the library catalog. The 2 books were If You Could See the Sun and Check and Mate. With If You Could See the Sun, this is by Anne Liang, I think it's pronounced. Her new book, I Am Not Jessica Chen, came out recently. I've seen a lot of hype around it, but I really wanted to read her books from the start. I've been seeing her books around for a while now and I still haven't gotten around to it. So I really wanted to sit down and read all her books from the start, like the start of her backlog, and then make my way to her most current one. I like to do this with some authors so I can see how their writing has evolved. I don't do it with everyone, but just the ones that I think I might really enjoy their books, hopefully. So I will probably do a separate reading blog on this and the rest of her books. I don't actually know what this book is about. All I know is that it's young adult and that it has a little bit of magical realism, but I could be making that part up. It just has those vibes, but it could also be just contemporary and I'm just completely misremembering what this book is about. Yeah, keen to get to this one. And then we have Check and Mate. I'm also doing this with Ellie Hazelwood's books where I read her books in order. Besides the short stories that she has, like that series of novellas or something, I'm not including that, but I've read The Love Hypothesis. Last year I DNF'd Love on the Brain, but I did read Love Theoretically. I actually have a book review video on that on my channel if you want to check that out. But yeah, now we are up to Check and Mate, which is her first and maybe only YA book. I'm not 100% sure on that. I've heard that this is different to the other books I've read so far. So all 3 are basically regular fanfic. I think that's common knowledge. I mean, she loves doing that. She can do it. A lot of people do eat that up, but I'm ready for something newer because I do like Ellie's writing and I appreciate what she's brought to the romance genre, but there's only so many times I can read about how broad and tall a man is before I'm checked out. So yeah, hopefully this will be a breath of fresh air in terms of her writing and I really enjoy this. And then I went shopping for the rest of the books in this pile. So what I did was just look around, anything that caught my eye, I took out to borrow. So first up, I saw this book, Gwen Art Are Not in Love. Now I actually can't remember if I've heard of this book before, but it was either early today or yesterday. I watched a video from one of my book talk mutuals and she was talking about reading this book and I saw it and I was like, maybe it's fate. Literally just saw this book and it's already here in front of my eyes. I did have a little skim of the blurb. It sounds funny and it sounds like something up my alley. I hope that I enjoy it. And then the next book I saw was So Let Them Burn. I've also heard a lot of good things about this on Book Talk, so I'm so excited I've got my hands on it. I know it is Black History Month in America. I don't think we observe that in Australia. By that it just means I don't think it's like an official kind of like celebrated month here, but I have a lot of American mutuals and a lot of people have been talking about books by Black authors and reading more by Black authors. I like to think I read pretty diversely all year round, but because it is especially Black History Month, I wanted to make more of an effort to diversify my reading. So yeah, we have So Let Them Burn. I don't know anything about this book besides that it's fantasy and it's YA. So yeah, I guess we'll see when we get into it. Oh, it was actually only published last year, so it is a new book. I feel like I did hear a lot about it last year, but for some reason I thought it was an older book, like a backlog title. I am really hoping that I enjoy this. And then we have Legendborn, which is another start of a series. I was trying not to start too many series this year without actually finishing them. For this, I know the first 2 books are published. I'm not sure about the 3rd one, and I don't know if there's any more in the series. I think I did see the 2nd book of this at the library as well, but I wanted to just borrow one first, see how I feel, which is actually a great way for me to not continue the series. But I also had so many books in my arms already and I couldn't carry them all. So I was like, I'll just start with one and see how we go. Again, YA fantasy. I do know this is a King Arthur retelling sort of, or like it's based around the Arthurian legends. So that's really cool and exciting. I used to be a huge fan of Merlin growing up. And then because of that, I went down a little rabbit hole of those legends and read books and stuff about it. So I hope I enjoyed this. I heard that there is a love triangle in this though, which is not one of my favorite tropes. In fact, it's probably my least or one of my least favorite tropes. But because I've heard such great things about the writing and about the story, I'm hoping that it's not going to be one of those annoying love triangles and that I actually will enjoy it regardless. And then I was like, okay, I think that's enough YA books to shop for. I had a huge stack, 5 to be exact. So I was like, let's go to the adult section and see what we can find. At first glance, I actually didn't find many things that I really wanted to read. I think some books you have to put reservations on because they're just so in demand. I had to kind of double back in this adult section just to try to find books that I really wanted. I luckily managed to find My Husband. I was so surprised to see this. I think because I've just been hearing so much about it, I assumed that it just wouldn't be available. I think this is like a weird girl lit kind of book, which honestly is not my favorite. I don't read a lot of them, and if I do, they have to be very good for me to actually like them. But I just feel like I've heard a lot about this. In saying that, I don't actually remember what this book is about, and I don't remember if the reviews I heard were mostly good, mostly bad, or just like a mix. I don't know why, but I really like the cover. There's just something so intriguing about it and different. So yeah, I wanted to get my hands on this and give it a shot. And then we have White Teeth by Zadie Smith. I have heard a lot about Zadie Smith. I've heard a lot about her books, and I think this is her debut novel. I do know that she's been around for a while. She has a lot of books published, but I don't actually know what this is about. I haven't read any of her works before, so I am so keen to dive into this. I'm sure if I love her works, I'm gonna go through and read all her other books as well. So yeah, that is my library haul. I think that was a pretty good shopping trip. And the best part is that I didn't have to spend a single dollar. I still get that burst of dopamine from buying new books, but I don't have that regret of spending so much money. I don't actually know how much this would all be if I did buy it, but I'm gonna put it on the screen. That is gonna be how much I saved. Really highly recommend going out to the library if you can and checking out their selection, because I think most, if not all, of these books have been on my TBR for a while. So keen that I managed to get them. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.